Alright guys, so today we're talking about For Honor, and so there's a lot to talk about here. I want to talk about some new stuff as well as the old stuff and just the game overall and its history. And so why am I talking about For Honor now, almost 5 years after it initially came out? Well, there's a lot of things to talk about. Primarily, they just dropped a new season and the game is free to play, so this will kind of be a history lesson for all of the new players coming in this weekend, because, you know, free to play already brings in a lot of new players overall just on free to play weekends. I mean, look at like games like Overwatch and For Honor. I always play it when it's free to play, even though I own the game. And a new season with a new character, especially a pirate character, I just think we'll be seeing a lot of activity in the game, so I figured now would be a good time to go ahead and make this video. Let's start from the beginning, 5+ years ago, when For Honor initially released, and kind of the hype around it, and what all happened with the launch. So like I said, this game came out in early 2017, and so there was a lot of hype around this game. If you don't know, like I said, you're new to this, or if you're a returning player and just need the knowledge, this is an Ubisoft game, right? And if we're looking at 2017, what other games, along with what other Ubisoft games were kind of popping off at that time frame? Well, we're looking at things like other Ubisoft titles, like the trailers for things like Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed Origins, you got Wildlands came out that year, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 had come out that year, previously was Battlefield 1, so that's kind of the era we're sitting in if you needed a quick reminder of what was going on. And so we're at the age of the Battle Pass, like we are now. That's what I'm going to call it, the age of the Battle Pass. And so multiplayer content, for the most part, typically was just launched at the state it was launched in, and then you'd have your DLCs or expansions, like what Destiny does, or what Call of Duty used to do pre-Battle Pass, where you'd get a couple of maps and new guns every couple months, and that was pretty much it, right? But with 2 years ago, prior to this game releasing, you had Rainbow Six Siege, and that kind of jumped into the whole hero shooter thing and how that whole generation of games worked with free-to-play updates, where they'd add new characters and new maps and new mechanics. And so For Honor chooses to follow that system. It is a fighting game, and it technically is a hero-based fighting game like Overwatch or Rainbow Six Siege, so it's post-launch content, but very similar route to Rainbow. Right, now if you remember when Rainbow launched, that was a whole mess. I mean, server problems, player counts dipping and dipping and dipping. This is all before the rise of Rainbow a year or two later, about the same time this game came out. And so their plan was relatively the same. Launch the game, get it going, have your overall hype, do your primary sales, and then come back every couple of months with new characters and a new map and new mechanics, or a big new update, and pull in new players and pull back the returning ones. Alright, so that was their plan, and this, like Rainbow, should have worked, but their big problem, their server problem, and I'm talking Battlefield 2042 levels of problems when this game launched. Now, Rainbow Six Siege I wasn't on to right out the gate. I don't think I picked that up until 2 months after launch, so most of those server problems were fixed by the time I picked up the game. But For Honor, I got day one. It was the first game that I was old enough to go buy a game by myself, and it was the last physical game I think I bought the disc for. I specifically remember going to get this game and it just not working. Now, while this wasn't to the stages where things are now, where it's almost expected that games don't work on launch, it still wasn't a new idea, right? I mean, you have Battlefield Hardline, that didn't work on launch. Like I said, Rainbow Six Siege didn't work on launch. Battlefield's games pretty much never work. EA is at that point now where they have the reputation for none of their games ever working on launch, right? And so this was a big killer to this game, because you launch something day one, and it just not a chance to get in. And it's very different and also similar to Battlefield, right? Battlefield 2042 was killed because of its bugs and just the server problems and all of that. But, well, aside from the first couple of days, Battlefield 2042 at least lets you get into the game, and while it has visual bugs and game-breaking bugs and all of that stuff, you can at least get into the match. For Honor, the same cannot be said. You would just queue and queue and queue, and you'd never get in, right? That, combined with very long load times, even now these load times are long, it just killed the game immediately at launch. Now, I'm not saying that the game performed awful, because it definitely didn't. I mean, people still play it now, and I'm making a video on it now, so obviously there's still a fan base and a community and hype around it. But like Rainbow Six Siege, it didn't do well off of launch, and unfortunately, unlike Rainbow Six Siege, it didn't recover in the same way. But why am I telling you this? Why should you care? Well, I've thought about this for a long time, and so to get into this final part of the video, I talk about kind of where For Honor is now. I want to talk about my history with For Honor, right? So like I said, we've been through the beginning together. The game came out, it didn't work, I played it for a bit, eventually it did end up working, but I was bored of it by then, too frustrated to care, and it set it down. Couple years later, maybe around 2019, I came back to it and I got halfway decent at it, right? I was okay to the point where I could actually win a fight. I was decent, right? Played it for probably a week or two, probably because it was free to play or something, and then never touched it again. Skip ahead to the end of last year, 2021, and I got really into For Honor, right? I completely reached max prestige on a character. I started another one, and I actually got halfway decent at the game. I understood how fainting worked and all that stuff. I really enjoyed it, right? And so I went to look back kind of at the game's history and all that stuff, and if all of this stuff was there, these deep mechanics and the high skill drop off, right? You can be really bad and have fun, and you can be really good and still have fun, much like Rainbow Six Siege. It has hero characters that you can dynamically change how you are playing so that you don't get bored, right? If you want to play a more defensive, laid back, kind of tank style, they have these heavy brute characters that can just counter enemies and throw them around and deal massive damage, but they're super slow. They have shield characters, they have assassin characters, they have counter characters, then they have characters just to get you started. This was all at launch. Then, as the game progressed, they added more and more and more characters. I mean, say they're adding a character that's a freaking pirate, right? And so, the potential of this game is why I made this video, right? If this game would have worked at launch, I think it absolutely would have blown up. You know how well fighting games do. Look at Injustice, Mortal Kombat, even like Capcom versus Marvel that I don't think are even close to as big. Those still do really well, especially on Twitch. Now let's talk about Twitch and the era of the Battle Pass. So while this game does have a Battle Pass, and while games that released pre-Battle Pass often update like Destiny 2 to include Battle Passes and this free-to-play type style content, it didn't launch with it. But I want to talk about if this game would have taken off like it should have, if the game would have launched properly, how this would have affected it overall. And so Twitch has really changed everything, right? With Fortnite and Battle Passes and free content update, that it's no longer splitting player bases. Everybody has access to get to this new form of content day one. And now with Twitch involved and really taking off, you no longer have to wait for these YouTubers to play the game and make their video and edit it and post it. You don't have to know how to do all of that. You literally just install a software and hit record, and now you can be streaming the game, or your friends can be streaming the game. You can watch your friends play, your friends can watch you play. And so that just combined with the whole Battle Pass thing, right? Let's go ahead and bring that elephant into the room. So as much as I absolutely hate Battle Passes, it's good for games, right? It's good to keep games alive. Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor, Fortnite, Call of Duty would not last nearly as long without Battle Passes, right? And then these free content updates are supported through those Battle Passes. And my point of making all of this, right, look at Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 launched, and Battlefield 5 by no means is a bad game, but the post-game content just made the game 1,000 times better. I easily put more hours into all the Pacific stuff than I did into the base game. I'm sure Battlefield 2042 will be the same exact way. Right? The game launched absolutely broken, give it a bit, and they'll fix it. Right? Battlefront 2 is a perfect example, right? It was broken and a mess at launch. You give them time. Eventually, unfortunately, that's just how it is now. They release games broken and fix them later because of money. And so my whole point in all of this, my entire argument here, is that if For Honor would not have launched like Battlefield 2042, absolutely broken, that it would have performed even better, right? I think, you're taking something that everybody loves, fighting games. Look at, again, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, all those types of games that do really well, right? And you're taking that and combining that with Twitch which can drastically overhaul your fan base in like a month and just get you so many new players if you get the right people playing and talking about it. And with this game, it would have worked. This game is so fun to watch. It has that clutch availability. It makes you want to play. You can get good clips from it. I mean, Twitch would have blown this game up. I'm not saying it didn't, because I remember this game being all over Twitch. This was kind of my first introduction to Twitch, but it didn't last, again, because the game didn't fucking work. And if you look at today, we see a lot of delays. I mean, Cyberpunk got delayed years and years and years. The updates for Cyberpunk and Witcher got delayed. The Stalker game just got delayed. Battlefield got delayed. Everything gets delayed, right? And if this would have got delayed just a bit longer to fix the servers, now obviously all those examples I just listed, except for Stalker obviously, which isn't out, have been delayed and still come out absolute dog shit. But regardless, my point is, For Honor had all of the foundations and the post-launch content planned to be the next big Warzone. This could have been something, Fortnite, Warzone level of Twitch game, right? This could have been the next big thing. Fighting games do incredibly well. Hero-based games do incredibly well. Battle Pass games do incredibly well. There's so many cosmetic options here. This game should have done amazing. But instead, it was dragged down by the same old tried and true method. Fuck you, give me money. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to do something a bit different and talk about something that it's just been a while, right? I always thought For Honor had potential, and just the way it was executed wasn't well done. That combined with the free-to-play weekend, I figured it was just a good time to go ahead and make this one. If you're from that free-to-play weekend, if you're relatively new to the game, let me know what you think of it so far, if you're liking it, if you're hating it. If you're new, you're probably hating it because you're getting absolutely smacked, but it gets better, I promise. If you played the game a long time ago and stopped playing it, let me know why. If you still play it and you're one of those level like app 950s that like one-shot me, I don't land a single hit on you, let me know what you love about the game. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one.